Hello brewers. Tonight I want to talk to you about something exciting I've been thinking about that I want to throw out there to all the home brewers out there and those who are looking at getting into the game. And that is the BIY challenge. Brew it yourself. What it's about is about making everyone who takes part better brewers. So it's increasing their brewing knowledge, their skills as well. What it is, it's an ambitious 8 beer recipe making challenge. Across a period of 8 beers, which I'm going to suggest there are 3-week gaps between each beer that we make. And from there we will learn about brewing equipment, how to cut time out of your brew day, tasting beer, judging beer, hitting your target gravities, hitting your target volumes, getting to know your brewing software, and finally understanding fermentation time to be able to get from the grain to the glass in a decent time frame that the beer tastes great, but without having to wait months. This is a Pilsner, by the way. So, what am I talking about? Every brewer I know wants to make their brew day as short as possible to be able to relax, clean up, and then get the fermentation happening, and then, in the shortest possible time frame, get their beer into the glass and sharing amongst their friends. So, there will be, the challenge is to meet a set of criteria and along the way to judge yourself and score points. Yes, there is no prize at the end of this apart from you being able to, at the end of it, hopefully brew better beer. And you'll also know your equipment and your volumes, your losses, where you can save time, where you can spend a little more time. I do want to make the challenge as pain-free as possible. So if you're using, I want you to stick with whatever brewing software, whatever equipment, fermentation vessels, fermentation temperatures, and the ingredients. I don't want to mess with any of that you currently use for any of the styles that you might already have on the go or in your recipe bank for the 8 styles of beer that we're going to brew. So when we talk about scoring, we're going to score points on from the moment you start to mash in to the moment that fermenter is as full as it's going to get. You will score points for being under the target time for that. Then there'll be more points on offer for hitting your target gravities and hitting your target volumes. From there is also points for the actual beer and beer scoring for tasting, aroma, appearance, and the guidelines I'm going to use for that are the 2015 BJCP guidelines. And finally, the last lot of points on offer are for the grain to glass time. And for every day you miss, gravity point you miss, you will lose points. The point is you want to challenge yourself with this to be able to get to know your equipment as good as possible. So if you know that you are constantly overshooting your gravity, then you might need to adjust your brewing software. You might need to adjust your mill grain setting. If you are constantly going under with your volumes, you might need to adjust your mash in grain to water ratio. You might need to adjust your sparge volume. The whole point is that by the end of it, you should have your system nutted out to be able to hit your numbers every time. And with the grain to glass time. So what you might need to consider there are your ingredients, the fermentation temperature, the yeast selection, and the fermentation time. So there is one problem with the challenge as it currently stands. Or is it an opportunity? And that is the beer judging. If you don't have people who are BJCP judges who might be able to judge your beer for you. Then, is there an opportunity for you to learn how to judge beer? The BJCP guidelines state quite clearly for each style what is needed, what the aroma should smell like, what the flavour should be like, and how it should look, down to the foam colour of the beer. And then there are classic styles that they draw their inspiration from, or their guidelines from, that you can use as a baseline for making your recipe and judging against. It really is up to you how you judge. Granted, it is a weakness in the scoring system because it is subject to personal preference, and you might really love your beer and not be able to taste certain types of off flavours. That is okay. I understand that it, as I said before, it is a weakness in the scoring system, but I can't think of a better way to get more people involved to be able to understand their brewing system, their brewing software, their brewing equipment, all their ingredients, and understanding the importance of fermentation time and temperatures to be able to brew better beer. The point is, by the end of it, regardless of how you score your beer, whether you're hard on yourself or you're easy on yourself, you will, by the end of it, hopefully brew better beer. That I will be putting all the challenge guidelines onto the link. I'll put links down the bottom of the page who will link to the Facebook page of the BIY challenge being run by myself. And so if you want to join the group, please do, and I'll discuss in there how you go about posting all the key data that you need to put in and then relate to your scores. But if you're interested, these are the beers we're going to be brewing. So the first challenge will kick off in 3 weeks. We're going to do, it'll be more of an honour to the craft beer and home brewing revolution, and that is the American Pale Ale. 3 weeks later, there'll be a chance to taste the Pale Ale, because that's the time frame I'd like to set of a Pale Ale. 3 weeks drinking time, and that allows bottle conditioners to be able to get in on the act too, not just people who keg. Week 2, we have the IPA. Week 3, when I say weeks, I mean there are 3 weeks apart from each beer. So challenge 2 is the IPA, challenge 3 is a Czech lager. Challenge 4, an Irish beer or dark British beer. Challenge 5, that's going to be a chance for everyone to either earn a lot more points, because I'm going to set that you choose whatever style you like, but you'll be able to put into practice all the things that you've learned over the previous 4 challenges. So then we've got challenge 6, British bitter. Challenge 7, a pale Commonwealth beer, and challenge 8, the final round, is a German wheat beer. Now, I will also put links. I'll put key references up for the BJCP 2015 guidelines, and then that way you'll be able to look at the styles for each of those beers that I just announced. If anyone is interested, and I call on all home brewers who are, to either share this video or take part and join the group, join the challenge, and go to the Facebook page for a lot more information. But in the meantime, happy brewing, happy drinking. Cheers.